Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another Gunpla review, and today I'm taking a look at this right here. This is the high-grade Gundam 00 Gundam Plutone from the novel Gundam 00P. As you can tell from that box back there, once again, this is a premium Bandai only kit, and this seems like it's a built from the ground up premium Bandai kit. So if you want some premium Bandai kits of your own, you can't find them anywhere else, well, you will 100% definitely find them on Buyee. Anyway, if you do want one of your own, there is a link down there in the description, and that is where I got mine. Now here we go. So anyway, this right here is the high-grade Gundam Plutone out of the box, snapped together with a little bit of extra effort. As usual, the extra effort is just a little bit of panel lining, and that is it. No nub cleanup, no nothing, and this thing still looks great. I will mention though, this is a bit of a confusing kit. When I started building it at first, I saw on the runners that this is all new, besides the polycaps for 2020. However, immediately it felt quite old. There was no articulation in the feet. The legs in general felt a little bit limited, and it had that old school Gundam 00 high grade feel. But the more I went along, the more it felt modern in a lot of different ways, so this is really confusing. I think what Premium Bandai did with this kit here is make it feel like it would match with the older Gundam 00 kits, but at the same time, still feel modern and pretty nice. It cleans up nicely. The plastic is what I can only describe as Premium Bandai style, which is very glossy, almost ABS-y in its rubberiness, but still quite hard. It's hard to describe. All I can say is it's very, very nice, but not in your standard Bandai way. Because of this style of plastic though, all of the colors are incredibly vivid. I mean, these are mind-blowingly bright, vivid, and eye-catching. So jumping straight into that full 360-degree spin, and this is one striking looking Gundam. Sometimes it is hard to tell from the promo pictures before a kit comes out what it will actually look like in your hand, but this one has really taken me by surprise. It's so perfect looking. Sure, it's not fully color accurate. I'll get onto some of the stickers that are in here, but besides the couple of issues with the stickers, this looks amazing. If you get on close into that face, this has one of the most striking looking heads I've seen on a high grade in a long time. There's something so round, cute, and perfect about it. This is a fantastic looking kit, and that is just the looks. This is one ridiculously beautiful kit, a lot more so than I expected it to be. Another Premium Bandai surprise right here. So getting in a little bit closer to some of the detail, and this head is such a mix of big, round, and cute with one threatening glare. Honestly, this is an awesome looking Gundam face right here. We have a clear green section in the chest that is extremely dark. There is a sticker inside of that which is very hard to see. Let's see if I hit that with some more light. Yeah, you can kind of get a little bit of a glimmer of that in there, but for the most part, that green is incredibly opaque. The colors on here definitely are standard issue for a Gundam, that red, white, yellow, and blue, but on here they're so vivid. If I actually pop up the art right here side by side with it, you see that this really does capture that very bright, very vivid feeling of the art very well. But what this also means is there isn't a lot of surface detail on this kit, really. And what I mean by that is there isn't a lot of panel lining except up on the wings on the back, a little bit around on some of the armor on the back, but towards the front there isn't a whole lot. So if you're a big fan of panel lines, you're gonna have to bring your own. On top of that, there is a lot of old school tech in here, so mold lines and knobs are quite prominent in some places, especially the mold lines. But once again, I did not clean anything on this up at all, and it still looks phenomenal. So as for a size comparison, there it is beside a standard classic Gundam, which is the revived version of the RX 78-2, and this definitely lets you know that this is a sizable size Gundam here. I thought this was a small compact Gundam, but the minute you throw it down beside the granddaddy, you know, this one's pretty hefty. Next up, there it is side by side with an Iron-Blooded Orphans kit, that of course is Gundam Hajiroboshi. Once again, this is a tall Gundam right here, might be the heels. Well, this actually has heels too, so you can't just blame it on the heels. This is a pretty big Gundam. Next up, there it is side by side with a bigger mobile suit. That, of course, is the Sinanju Stein. There it is side by side with the real grade Exia. So once again, big mobile suit. Lastly then, there it is side by side with the real grade Gundam 00. So I almost forgot to mention it, but we do get a little sheet of stickers in here, which is this one here. For the most part, they're all the usual ones. The only one that really stands out is the red one there, which is number 1, and that is for either side of the V-fin there. These sections right here, those should be in red, but besides that, we've just got this one for in the GN drive, and a part we're going to see later on. This one, which is inside the chest there. This one is a sight for on a weapon we're going to look at soon, and that one, number 3, was from the eyes. So the stickers, not so bad. So now moving on to the accessories, and here is the high-grade Gundam Plutone with absolutely everything that it comes with. So this is your standard Gundam loadout of a beam rifle, a shield, a pair of beam sabers, but in that usual 00 way, we've got long and short beams, and on top of that then we've got an extra pair of widespread dynamic hands. That is on top of the pair of standard holding hands we've seen throughout the review so far, and finally we've got this little bit of a core fighter that we'll use with the cockpit section of the Gundam, but let's check everything out one at a time. So once again, as for the hands, that is that pair of standard Gundam holding hands that we've seen time and time again, and a pair of widespread dynamic hands. And I have to say, it's always nice when we do get a set of dynamic hands included, because that's not always the case. As for the beam sabers in here, these are the same as we've seen time and time again when it comes to Gundam 00 beam sabers. These just pop into the hands in your standard beam saber type way. Once again, we have a choice of long or short beams, as you usually do with Gundam 00 kits. When they're not in use, just pop off the beam, and they can be stored behind the knee armor just by sliding that off, popping them into this little section here, and even though that looks just kinda loose and barely holding on in there, once you actually stick the armor back on, I find that it doesn't tend to fall out for some reason, so it does stay in there. Honestly, I'm not sure why, because you are able to just slip it in there if you want to, like so. But yeah, they don't seem to want to come out, and I don't know why. Let it come off though. Don't worry, it's not loose or anything, I've just been moving them around quite a bit. Moving on to the beam rifle now, and this is as simple as beam rifles come. It's hollow, it's just two big old sections of plastic sandwiched together, and it's got a pretty bad sticker for that sensor on the bottom. It bends around the plastic so weird, and it has all those little cut sections so it can bend around it, and it just, well, this is never going to look nice. On the whole though, it does have some decent detail on it, and it's not the worst thing ever, it's just very plain. This just pops into the hand in the standard way. This bit lines up with that little notch in the arm because that's what feeds GN particles into it. But I will mention that this isn't a clip, so that doesn't help support the gun. It doesn't connect in snugly, it just kind of hangs out on top of it. Once again, it's not the most thrilling beam rifle ever, and a bit of a letdown after such an absolutely beautiful looking mobile suit. Next in here then we've got the shield, and this is a nice mix of plain and very, well, crisp looking. It's in the same colors as the mobile suit, that is the absolutely brilliant white, that very striking red, and around on the other side it is nicely separated to grey on the back. The adapter segment for attaching it onto the arm is a ball joint, so that does mean you do have a little bit of freedom, actually a lot of freedom, once this is attached. That just pops into the front of the arm, once again, very 00 style. This actually clips in, unlike the rifle, and holds on very securely, and once again, there is a lot of motion to it. You cannot move that round to the back of the arm, sadly. That is one of my favorite places to put a shield. Keep it out of the way, but yeah, all's good here. Well, besides the fact that all of this bulk starts to kind of get in the way of the articulation. These big old sections here with those GN squirters, those kind of, well, block all the motion to the front, especially when the weapons clip into the front of the arm. So that is a little bit awkward. He either has to squeeze it in right here in between, or go all the way around here to squeeze it up. A little bit awkward, but I guess that's kind of what makes it a not final generation Gundam in Gundam 00. I guess the design could have been a little bit better. So next up in here we've got this little segment which is essentially half of the core fighter. So this on its own doesn't really do anything. We've got a bit of a parts formation of the torso. So you just steal some parts of the torso and stick it onto this. So we grab that cockpit from the front and this whole segment here from the back. The back section then attaches on just like so. Then these segments pop out like this for the wings, and that front cockpit segment attaches in like that. So there we go, we've got a Gundam 00 style core fighter, which is pretty cool. The wings can twist a little bit, just like that, up and down. as well as bend back in like so, but besides that, it doesn't do a whole lot. But it is cool to see a 00 style core fighter, especially with the clavicle antenna sticking up there. That is pretty awesome. Can also attach to an action base as well, not included. So now moving on to the articulation and build, and first off, the build is quite sturdy. I've found nothing being an issue so far. The joints are kind of spongy in the way that polycaps tend to be, but besides that, it is solid as a rock, thankfully. But anyway, articulation from the head down. So the neck in here is your standard giggity goo double polycap ball joint. So that is the head all the way up. Very nice. All the way down, nothing in the way. Side to side tilt is okay, and there is that spin all the way around. Inside the shoulders, the polycaps are aligned, moving towards the front like so. They don't move a whole lot. Standard ball and socket inside of that, but what is not standard is these little rubbery GN pipe thingamabobbers. So these are pretty similar to what we would have seen with other high-grade 00 kits, so it's exactly what you would have seen before. Flexible, and I can assume they're only going to get very dirty with time. So anyway, like I said, polycaps move towards the front like that. The arm can move inside of the shoulder up to that point there. There's the arm with the shoulder polycap. So it can't raise its arm too much, but it can spin it all the way around 360. Oh no, it can't! Whoa! Yeah, beware, that pipe will get in the way, so it can only rotate as far as that cable will allow. Same goes for the upper arm here. That can rotate all the way around, but we do have a cable attached in there, limiting that movement. There is the bend at the elbow, so it is a double joint, as we usually see, but it is blocked by the bulky armor quite a bit. When it is flexed up like this, you're not going to move it out because of that massive GN thingamabob up there, but on the whole, it's not so bad. We've got one of those second points of flexion inside of the wrist here. That does not do a lot. And we also have this segment around here on the back of the arm, which allows it to move out like this. This is not in the instructions, but I did notice it while building it. So I don't know exactly what this is for. I assume it's something in the story, or something it passes on to a later mobile suit, but there's no mention about what that does. So if you know, drop it down there in the comments. As for the ab crunch, this is extremely old school. This is that pair of polycap balls. It doesn't give you a whole lot. It gives you a little bit, enough to play around with. Not so bad. There's the side to side. And like I mentioned, what that is a polycap ball up there, like so, and a polycap ball down here, like that. We've got your standard ball joints at the front skirting armor, so that does what you usually see, but not too much movement in and out. Once again, these come attached on the runner. You can split them in half while you build. This side skirting armor is just a hinge. It goes up and down like that, is attached to a wire going into the back of the leg. The butt flap back here, or should I say GN condenser, that cannot move at all. And as for kicks, what we get is that up to the front, very blocked by all that bulky armor. This out to the back, which is next to nothing. And as for out to the side, not too bad. This thing can pretty much pull off the splits. As we've been seeing a lot with this kit, we would have full rotation here at the upper leg, except we do have a cable here. When it is in quite tight to the body, it's very limited due to its design. And inside the waist, we do have a little bit of a side-to-side rocking mechanism. The knee on here is a 2-point bend, so we get one bend down here, one bend up here, and the armor of the knee is attached to the central segment, which gives it a nice bending, moving gimmick, which I absolutely adore. The bend here is not too bad either. The ankle and foot on here are quite simple, so we've got a bit of a hinge here that allows it to move like that, and a ball joint for the ankle, which is quite simple, but we do get a nice full extension there, which gives it a little bit of a pointed look for those flight poses. Not so bad. On the ground though, what we get is just that there to the front, which isn't so bad. Out to the back, we've got that, which is okay. And as for the side to side, it is just the ball, so it's only there to there, so not the greatest. Also, this foot right here is essentially just a brick and does not do anything whatsoever. At the end of the day, articulation is not Gundam Plutone's strongest point, but it's not the worst and you will get some nice poses out of it, just not a lot of different poses. A lot of the armor gets in the way a lot of the time. Anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this is a mixed bag of a kit. It looks absolutely fantastic. The colors look great, the silhouette looks great, this is a beautiful Gundam, and it's got one of the most striking Gundam heads I have seen in quite some time. However, it is let down quite a bit by its fairly basic accessories that feel like they've been around for years, and the articulation that is quite basic by today's standards. The weird thing about this kit is it feels like a little bit of a mix of old and new. The runners say it's brand new for this year, the feel of it does not feel brand new for this year, but the look of it sure does. It's got that new premium Bandai style, if you get what I mean. In a way, kind of similar to what we saw with the Gundam F90. It's a very shiny looking Gundam with some vivid colors. If you like the look of this kit and you don't care that it can't pull off too many poses or its accessories don't look that great, I say go for it. It is absolutely gorgeous. But if you want an all-rounder of a kit, this may not be for you. But anyway, once again, if you do want one of your own, there's a link down there in the description. You can get yours through Bai, that's where I got mine. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will see you next time. Once again, I cannot finish this video right here without thanking each and every one of you guys. Whether you just watch my videos, like them, or support the channel on the channel memberships and over on Patreon. Like Craig Jerry, Greg Humphrey, Kaiser721, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhardt, Sean T, and the ambassador for Asymmetric Cat.